Luna's Bedtime Stories. Episode 6, When Sunny Got Sick. In the small, sunlit town of Bayville, a young girl named Sunny woke up with a sparkle in her eyes and a smile on her face. It was a day she had been waiting for all weekend, a day that would be filled with fun, laughter, and endless playtime at school. In Sunny's bedroom, a sense of purpose filled the space as she began her familiar routine of getting ready for school. Her black cat, Luna, watched curiously as her companion went about her day. The room was adorned with splashes of color and personal touches that reflected Sunny's vibrant personality. Posters of her favorite band adorned the walls, and a shelf displayed an array of books waiting to be explored. Her school uniform lay neatly folded on the bed, each piece ready to be donned. With a determined smile, Sunny sat up and swung her legs over the edge of the bed. Her pajamas were exchanged for the crisp uniform, each button and layer secured with a practiced ease. She paused for a moment to adjust the collar, her reflection in the mirror showcasing a mix of excitement and readiness for the day ahead. Next came the ritual of washing her face. A splash of cool water awakened her senses. As she lathered her hands with soap, she could feel the remnants of sleep melting away, replaced by a renewed energy. She looked at herself in the mirror, her eyes meeting her own gaze with a mix of determination and curiosity. Sunny's toothbrush danced across her teeth, minty freshness enveloping her mouth. With each brushstroke, she was reminded of the day's potential, the lessons to be learned, the friends to be reunited with, and the small moments of joy that would inevitably come her way. After a quick comb through her hair, she slipped on her socks and shoes, her footsteps light and purposeful as she made her way to the kitchen. The aroma of breakfast wafted through the air, and her mother greeted her with a warm smile. "Good morning, Sunny," Mrs. Hughes said, her voice filled with the love only a mother can convey. "Breakfast is ready for you." Sunny settled at the kitchen table, her hands wrapped around a cup of orange juice. Her mother had prepared a spread of toast, fruit, and scrambled eggs, a nourishing start to the day. As Sunny savored each bite, her mother moved about the kitchen, adding final touches to the morning routine. The school bag was checked, ensuring that everything was neatly packed and a water bottle was placed beside it. Mrs. Yu made sure to feed their precious cat Luna too, who nibbled away at her breakfast of tuna and kibbles. A moment later, the sound of car keys jingled, signaling that it was time to go. "Bye, cutie." Sunny reached down to pet Luna. The sweet cat stopped mid-meal to walk her owner to the front door. She was delighted to see her companion in a great mood, but also knew the next few hours would be lonely without her. At least she could freely laze around the living room as she so pleased. Outside, the anticipation of the day ahead created an air of excitement. Mrs. Yu's car waited by the curb, ready to carry Sunny on her journey. As they pulled away from the house, the eager young girl looked out the window, watching as the world passed by in a blur of possibilities. Each new day was a chance to learn, to grow, and to embrace the adventure that awaited her at school. In the bustling classroom, the air was alive with the energy of young minds ready to explore, learn, and play. Sunny sat at her desk, her eyes shining with excitement as she listened to her teacher's lessons. The colorful artwork on the walls and the alphabet chart above the blackboard filled the room with an air of creative possibility. As soon as she stepped through the classroom door, her heart danced with excitement. The day's lessons seemed to fly by as she immersed herself in the world of numbers, letters, and stories. As the morning lessons gradually transitioned into the vibrant world of recess, the classroom seemed to transform into a playground of imagination. When the bell finally rang, Sunny's energy burst forth like a dam being released. The schoolyard outside beckoned, and Sunny joined her classmates as they spilled into the open space, their laughter and chatter filling the air. A circle of friends formed around a game of tag, their feet pounding the ground as they raced to catch and dodge each other. Sunny's giggles echoed as she ducked a playful tag from her friend Alex, whose quick reflexes and agility kept him just out of reach. Their laughter was punctuated by the occasional, "Got it!" or "Almost." Nearby, a group of children huddled around a hopscotch grid chalked onto the pavement. Another classmate, Lily, held a piece of chalk, her face scrunched in concentration as she hopped and balanced on one foot, determined to conquer each numbered square with finesse. Sunny joined in, hopping and laughing alongside her, the simple joy of the game infusing the moment with a sense of carefree camaraderie. At the swings, a line of kids patiently waited their turn, their anticipation palpable as they watched their friends soar through the air. The sound of laughter mingled with the creaking of chains, creating a symphony of delight that seemed to capture the essence of childhood. In a quieter corner, a group of children gathered under the shade of a tree, their heads bent over a collection of trading cards. As they swapped cards and discussed strategies, Sunny's curiosity was piqued, and she wandered over to join the conversation, her eagerness to learn and connect shining through. Time seemed to dance by, and soon the bell rang, signaling the end of recess. The children reluctantly gathered their belongings, their cheeks rosy and their spirits buoyant. With smiles and a sense of contentment, Sunny and the other children returned to the classroom. As the lessons resumed, the vibrant energy of the morning's play continued to ripple through the air. Hours passed in the blink of an eye, and as the school day came to an end, Sunny's cheeks were flushed with exertion and joy. She bid farewell to her friends, her heart already anticipating the adventures that awaited her tomorrow. Though she had a wonderful day, Sunny returned home with a weary smile. Her steps were a little slower, and her cheeks were flushed. Luna, her sleek black cat, greeted her at the door with a graceful stretch and a soft meow, her green eyes filled with a hint of mischief. Sunny knelt down to pet Luna, her fingers running through the soft fur. Luna responded with a gentle nuzzle, her purring resonating like a soothing melody. Sunny's heart swelled with affection for her feline friend, who had always been a constant source of comfort and companionship. As Sunny made her way to her room, Luna followed closely, her tail swishing in the air. It was a routine they had shared ever since Sunny adopted Luna the pet store. Sunny's return from school marked the beginning of their playful bonding time. But today was different. Today, Sunny wasn't her usual energetic self. Luna, however, seemed unaware of Sunny's subdued mood. She playfully darted around, pouncing on imaginary prey and swatting at the air, hoping to engage her human friend in their usual games. Sunny smiled weakly, appreciating Luna's efforts to brighten her day. Sitting on her bed, Sunny gazed at Luna as the cat continued her playful antics. Luna batted at a dangling shoelace, her movements graceful and captivating. Sunny's fingers itched to join in the game, but her body seemed to carry fragments of illness. With a sigh, Sunny leaned against the pillows and called Luna over. Luna, sensing the change in Sunny's demeanor, hopped onto the bed and settled next to her. "Sorry, Luna," Sunny whispered, her voice soft with regret. "I wish I could play with you like we usually do, but I'm not feeling too well right now. I'm not sure what's wrong." Luna blinked up at her understanding gaze somehow conveying a sense of empathy. It was as if Luna knew that sometimes even the liveliest of playmates needed a moment of rest. As Sunny closed her eyes for an afternoon nap, Luna crept down to the kitchen in hopes of finding Mrs. Yu. The sunlight peered through the windows, casting a warm ambiance over the countertops and appliances. Mrs. Yu moved about with a sense of purpose, her apron tied snugly around her waist. Her heart was focused on one thing: making a comforting dinner for her daughter and husband. Luna stared up at Mrs. Yu with her big round eyes. She loved watching her human companions do human things. Sunny's mother hummed as she looked into her fridge, debating what she should cook for her family. "Oh, Luna, what are you doing down here?" she asked suddenly, noticing the little creature in her presence. It was unlike Luna not to be stuck to Sunny's hip after school, and Mrs. Yu noticed this change in her behavior right away. Concerned, she headed up to her daughter's bedroom where the afternoon sunlight cast a warm glow. Tucked beneath a cozy quilt, Sunny lay on her bed, her eyes half closed as weariness clung to her, and her cheeks held a faint flush. As Sunny drifted between wakefulness and dreams, she occasionally coughed. Each cough seemed to echo through the room, a temporary disturbance in the tranquility. Luna's ears twitched at the sound, a silent show of solidarity with her human companion. "Oh dear, you don't look well," Mrs. Yu said, who could tell right away the state her daughter was in. She placed a tissue box beside Sunny for easy access, and Sunny let out a soft sigh as she reached for a tissue to stifle her cough. As she coughed into the tissue, her body grew tense with each convulsive movement. Luna, sensing her discomfort, shifted slightly and extended a paw as if offering silent reassurance. Mrs. Yu felt Sunny's forehead for a fever, which was abnormally hot. "I was right. You are definitely sick, sweetheart," said Sunny's mother. "Oh, man," groaned Sunny, thinking back to her day. "I do remember Lily sneezing here and there. I should have been more careful when I was playing hopscotch with her." "Never mind that you need to rest, dear. I know just what to make for dinner. Close your eyes and I'll bring it up when it's ready," responded Mrs. Yu. "Luna, please keep this poor girl company," she added before heading back to the kitchen. After a particularly intense bout of coughing, Sunny's breathing evened out and the weariness settled in. She turned her head to glance at Luna, who had opened her eyes and now regarded Sunny with an unwavering gaze. Their eyes met, and in that silent exchange, there was a world of understanding. Their bodies formed a gentle curve as they snuggled under the warm blanket. Luna blinked slowly, her presence a source of comfort that transcended the discomfort of illness. As the afternoon waned, the two companions continued their peaceful nap as their breathing synchronized. Sometimes, the best medicine was simply the presence of a loved one. In the quiet moments of their shared nap, Sunny found solace not just in the embrace of slumber, but also in the knowledge that she was not alone. Luna was there, a steadfast companion who would be by her side, supporting her on the path to healing. However, the sickness continued, and the sparkle in Sunny's eyes was dimmed. A slight sniffle had settled in, accompanied by a scratchy throat and a hint of fatigue. The cold Lily had unwittingly passed on had undoubtedly caught up with her. Downstairs in the kitchen, Mrs. Yu surveyed the ingredients spread out before her. A pot of chicken broth bubbled gently on the stove, its aroma wafting through the air. Fresh vegetables, carefully chopped into bite-sized pieces, waited in neat bowls, their vibrant colors a testament to the care she put into every detail. Sunny's health was her top priority, and Mrs. Yu was determined to prepare something nourishing and delicious. She knew that a warm, homemade meal had the power to soothe both body and soul. As the broth simmered, Mrs. Yu added the vegetables one by one, their vibrant hues blending harmoniously in the pot. The sound of sizzling and the comforting scent filled the kitchen, creating a sense of homey comfort. With each stir of the spoon, Mrs. Yu poured her love and care Her heart swelled with a mix of worry and tenderness as she thought about her daughter, resting in her room. She envisioned Sunny's bright smile and spirited energy, both temporarily dimmed by the illness. After a final taste to ensure the flavors were just right, Mrs. Yu carefully ladled the aromatic soup into a bowl. She garnished it with a sprinkle of chopped herbs, a touch of vibrant green that added both flavor and visual appeal. The bowl felt warm in her hands, a vessel of comfort ready to be delivered. Carrying the bowl in her hands, Mrs. Yu made her way to Sunny's room. She knocked softly on the door before entering, finding Sunny nestled beneath a cozy blanket, her eyes bright but still carrying traces of fatigue. "Hi, sweetheart," Mrs. Yu greeted with a soft smile. "I've made some soup for you. It's warm and full of goodness, just what you need to feel better." Sunny's face lit up as her mother approached, the sight of the steam rising from the bowl inviting and comforting. Mrs. Yu settled on the edge of the bed, placing the bowl on the bedside table. "Thank you, Mom," Sunny said, her voice slightly hoarse but filled with gratitude. She reached out to touch her mother's hand, the simple gesture conveying a depth of appreciation that words couldn't capture. Mrs. Yu brushed a strand of hair away from Sunny's forehead and smiled tenderly. "Eat up, my love." As Sunny carefully sipped the steaming soup, her mother's presence and the taste of the carefully prepared meal nourished her body and soul. Outside, Mr. Yu's car slowly pulled into the driveway. The day's work was behind him, and his thoughts were focused on the comfort of his family. Stepping through the front door, he exchanged a tired but contented smile with his wife, who had come down to greet him. "Hello, dear," she said warmly. "Sunny's been looking forward to seeing you." Mr. Yu's eyes lit up at the mention of his daughter. He had been thinking about Sunny, and especially so after his wife informed him of the bad news. He made his way to her room where Sunny chewed away at soft bits of chicken and chunks of carrot. Her cold was evident in the faint traces of congestion. "Hey, champ," Mr. Yu said in a hushed voice, his eyes tender. "How are you feeling?" Sunny offered a small smile, her voice slightly hoarse as she responded, "Better now that you're here, Dad. I think I caught a cold from one of my classmates." He nodded in approval before reaching for a small cup on the bedside table. Inside, a spoonful of medicine waited, ready to help ease Sunny's symptoms. "Time for your medicine, sweetie," he said, his voice soothing. "We'll have you feeling like yourself in no time." Sunny obediently opened her mouth, and Mr. Yu carefully placed the spoon against her lips. The liquid medicine disappeared with a quiet gulp, and Sunny made a slight face, a mixture of determination and distaste. Mr. Yu chuckled softly. "I know it's not your favorite, but it's the magic potion that'll help you get better." Sunny's smile widened as her father's sweet words. As he settled back onto the edge of the bed, he reached for a tissue to gently wipe away some chicken soup his daughter had dripping down her chin. "Rest up, sweetheart. Your body needs all the energy it can get to fight off that cold. If you need anything, just call us. We'll be right outside your door." As he stood to leave the room, Sunny reached out and grabbed his hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. "Thanks, Dad," she said softly. Mr. Yu squeezed her hand in return, his smile warm and unwavering. "Anytime, my brave one. We're in this together." And with that, he left the room, his heart full of a father's unwavering love and a promise to support his daughter through every challenge life might bring. As a father, Mr. Yu embodied the ideals of patience, empathy, and devotion. His presence was a guiding light in the lives of his wife and daughter, a beacon of stability and love that brought balance to their world. Mr. Yu's relationship with Sunny was a treasure of its own. He was her steadfast supporter, ready to listen to her stories from school, help with homework, and offer a shoulder when challenges arose. The hours spent playing catch in the backyard or sharing bedtime stories were not just routines. They were opportunities for connection, guidance, and the imparting of life's valuable lessons. Seeing his daughter feeling unwell created an added layer of stress for Mr. Yu, and he was determined to do whatever he could to help her. In their family, it was evident that he and his wife complemented each other perfectly. Their partnership was built on mutual respect, shared values, and a commitment to nurturing their daughter's growth and happiness. The love that flowed between them was a foundation upon which their home was built, creating an environment where Sunny could thrive and learn the true meaning of family. As she continued resting alone in her room, Sunny's parents shared a dinner alone together for the first time in a while. The aroma of the dinner Sunny's mother had prepared filled the air, and she filled her husband's bowl up with hearty chicken noodle soup. As they began to eat, the conversation naturally turned to their daughter, Sunny. Mrs. Yu looked across the table at her husband, her eyes soft with affection. "She's a strong little one, isn't she? Even when she's not feeling her best, she still manages to carry on with a smile." Mr. Yu smiled back proudly. "Yes, just like her mother. You've always been the strong one in our family. This soup is delicious, dear. If only Sunny could eat down here with us." As they continued their dinner, their conversation delved deeper into their hopes for Sunny's recovery. They discussed remedies, rest, and the importance of nurturing both her body and spirit. As the meal drew to a close, Mrs. Yu reached across the table and placed her hand over her husband's. With a shared smile, they cleared the table and moved on to the next part of their evening routine. Wrapped in a cozy blanket, Sunny spent the rest of the night absorbed in her favorite books, occasionally peering out the window at the world beyond. She hoped she would feel better in time for school as soon as possible, but also didn't want to get any more of her friends sick. In the meantime, she would enjoy this quality time with Luna, her very best friend who never left her side. Though she didn't feel like her normal self, her appreciation for her home, her parents, and her beautiful pet cat never waned, all of which provided a safe, comforting, loving place for her to heal and get better. As the days passed, Sunny's playful spirit began to reawaken, her cold retreating just as quietly as it had arrived. With the return of her energy, she rejoined her friends at school, her enthusiasm undiminished. The lessons continued, the games resumed, and the playground echoed with laughter once more. All the while, Luna, the sweet cat with beautiful, round green eyes, waited patiently at home for her companions so they could continue their adventures.